Thank you everyone for joining us today. My name is Brian Laufer and I am the Vice President here at QuoteWerks. Today what we'll be doing is talking about the new features added in QuoteWerks version 23 build 5. And if you are on an older build or version, you can easily update to the latest just by installing version 23 build 5.x. You do not need to install incremental updates. When you install an update, you receive all of the features and fixes available up to and including the build or version you just installed. If you have any questions as we go along here, please feel free to ask them in the GoToWebinar toolbar questions box as we go along. If there are any questions that I do not answer throughout the demo, I will do my best to answer them towards the end. They can be about this release or QuoteWerks in general. If you think of a question after the webinar, or I do not fully answer your question, make sure to email community@quotewerks.com or give us a call at 407-248-1481. So as you can see, we are going to be having a short PowerPoint presentation here first to discuss some of the new features. Then we'll actually be demonstrating the key features for you, followed by the opportunity for you to ask more questions. Just a quick release summary here. As of right now, we have 30 new features in Build 5 and 12 miscellaneous features. And of course, because it is software, we have fixes. All right. So the first thing to touch on, obviously, will be the integration updates. For SugarCRM, we added support for version 13.1. And for GoldMine users, we added 2023.3. For Autotask PSA users, we added a ton of new features, which we'll be talking about and demonstrating here. And for QuickBooks Desktop users, we also added a key feature that some of you have been asking for quite a while. So the key new feature added in Build 5 here is the ability to have multiple contacts in the same vendor. And the reason this is important is because we had customers that were creating multiple vendors in QuoteWerks for the same company because they had to have different contacts to follow up with. So now in QuoteWerks, we've made it easier for vendor communication, so you can set a primary contact as well as secondary contacts under the vendor. And we went ahead and migrated all of your vendor information. Whoops, there goes my mic. All of your vendor information into the new format, so you don't have to worry about all of that. And what's great about these primary and secondary contacts is you can assign roles to them, like your billing contact, your sales contact, technical contact, or if you have a specific type of sales contact, like maybe a Cisco contact or an HP contact at a vendor, you can go ahead and set those roles in there as well. And for those that use purchase orders out of QuoteWerks as well as vendor RFQ, you can default the to and the CC whenever sending out those purchase orders or vendor RFQs. And if you're not familiar with what vendor RFQ is, basically it streamlines your entire vendor communication end to end. And we've done some other webinars about that. Definitely check out our website, vendorrfq.com, to find out more about that. All right, for you Autotask users, we added quite a few new features in this. And there are a bunch of things that you guys have been asking for a while. So for opportunities, they always had to be linked to a contact. Well, now we've made it so you can either link it to just the account or the contact. So if you are bringing in the company into QuoteWerks or the account into QuoteWerks without a contact associated with it, you can still create that opportunity. Also, when creating or updating your opportunities, you can now specify a category for that opportunity as well. And then part number generation for quote products. Okay, so some of you may know what this is, some of you may not, but basically right now, you can map like the manufacturer part number to the Autotask part number. Well, now what we've done is we made it so it can actually generate that part number, so you can combine like the manufacturer and the manufacturer part number to that if you wanted to as well. And we'll show you how that works, and it'll make more sense as we go along. For those that link to Autotask products, services, yes, service bundles, and labor as well, we added a new tax code option. So basically the tax code for those items will be based on the material code, tax category, and tax region. For those that just want to set it as taxable or non-taxable at a header level, you can still use that legacy option as well. And then if you are linking to Autotask products, we've added more fields that you can then bring in. So like into your custom fields, for instance, like your internal product ID, external product ID, billing type, price method, if it's serialized or not, if it requires procurement. As you can see, there's lots there. I'm not going to read off all of them. Also now, we've added a functionality here that makes it really easy to clear contact links. We had the ability to basically clear like the sold to, shipped to, and billed to completely. But what we've done now is we've made it so it can clear the contact links. So basically what it does is it clears the links to the CRM, like the contact ID, company ID, opportunity, and anything else that we're linking back to the CRM for. The contact information would still remain here, but we're going to clear out like the contact and company IDs here as well. And why this is helpful, the key thing is if you're switching CRMs or PSAs, you may want to remove those links, but leave the company information in place. So that way you can open up the company, make changes to it, or open up that document and make changes to it, and it's not going to hurt anything. Not try to write back to your old CRM, for instance. If you are using QuickBooks Desktop for your contacts, you now have the ability to pull in the tax rate via the data link. So when you retrieve the company, you can go ahead and retrieve the tax rate as well. Some of you guys have been asking for that one for years. So I'm glad that we were able to add that for you. For QuoteWerks web users, we added a more automated sync with QuoteWerks web. So we've had the ability to click on a button and sync, but now if you are adding literature or cover pages, that will auto sync with QuoteWerks web. You don't have to click any additional buttons. You add it in QuoteWerks Desktop, it'll be up in QuoteWerks web, and we'll show how that works and how easy that is. So but basically all it is just a right-click add, right-click delete, and because we've made it so easy to do this, we've added more security functionality as well. So per user, you can set who cannot delete literature, cannot add cover pages, and cannot delete cover pages as well, because it's going to be super important that you have the ability to lock those down. So we just wanted to highlight those top 30 features there. Obviously, there's more. There may be a few more that sneak in before version 24 gets released, so definitely keep a lookout. And if you are at any events this year, these are some of the events that we are going to be at. So I just wanted to make sure to call that out. We just got back from Toronto for the ASCII event there. In a couple of weeks, we'll be in ASCII Chicago. And then the beginning of October, we'll be at DattoCon down in Miami. And we are co-sponsoring the block party there. So that should be a lot of fun. And then back up to Virginia in mid-October for the ASCII Cup, and then back here in Orlando mid-November for IT Nation Connect, and we will be co-sponsoring the block party there as well. If you want to go to any of these events, make sure to check out our website. We've got signups for all of these. If you aren't going to DattoCon or IT Nation, and you are an MSP or a VAR, you still have the ability to attend the block parties for free. So if you are interested in that, please take a look at our website. All right, speaking of resources and websites, definitely take advantage of our free trials. So if you do not already use QuoteWerks Web or Quote Valet, we do offer free trials of those. So if you are interested in that as we go along, definitely email support and they'll be, or I should say sales, and they'll be able to get you the trial for that. Also, if we go over anything that's like, more too high level for you, you want to go really in depth, we have a ton of videos. We have our help documentation. We have these webinars that are recorded, obviously that they're live as well. We offer professional services training. We have lots of partners out there that know a lot about QuoteWerks. And then we also offer phone and email support as well, and it's just support@QuoteWerks.com. And our number is 407-248-1481. And we also have some international numbers as well. So take a look at our contact us on our website. And lastly, if you want to know about any events that we're going to be at, any new features that we're coming out with, new videos, webinars like this one, I invite you to follow us on social media, and that way you will get notified of those new features and whatnot. And just again, more housekeeping. If you have questions as we go along in the live demo portion, ask those questions in that question box for GoToWebinar. And like I said, this webinar will be recorded and should be up by the end of the week. All right, so that is that. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. And let's bring up QuoteWerks desktop here. All right, I'll minimize QuoteWerks Web in the background. All right, so the first one that we're going to talk about is going to be the vendor maintenance. It's going to be the easiest one for you guys to understand and easiest to show off. So what I'm going to do is go to the utilities menu here and vendor maintenance. And let's go ahead and take a look at our awesome vendor here. Actually, let me just check on something here. Okay, check out our awesome vendor here. What I'm going to do is click on edit. And you'll notice that we have some changes in here now. So we've got 3 different vendor contacts in here. We've got Bill vendor, who's our accounting contact. We have Joe vendor, who's our main salesperson. And the reason I know that he's our main salesperson is because he's bold here. If I double click on that, you'll notice that he is our primary contact here. And we'll come back to that in just a moment. And then we have Scotty vendor here, who is our tech. And then we've got our returns on the other tab. Basically, similar functionality than what we had before. What's great here is we have the ability to easily send an email if we wanted to Joe, for instance, just by clicking on this send email button. And just like that, we've got Joe's email right here, and we can send Joe an email. And that'll get logged just like it normally would. If we wanted to add a new contact, all we have to do is click on the Create New Contact button here. And maybe this will be our Cisco contact. And our role will be Cisco. And I'm being very creative here with my names, I know. So we'll do community plus Cisco at QuoteWerks.com and click on OK. And actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and make sure that we CC our Cisco contact on all PO emails that go out. So we'll go ahead and click on OK on that. All right. And then let's go ahead and click on OK. Let's create a new vendor, and then we'll go ahead and see how all of this works and how it plays in. So let's go ahead and click on New. Our vendor company will be Webinar Vendor. Our primary contact name, we'll just say Thor, and we'll go ahead and do community. And you'll notice that we have Thor here automatically as our primary contact. If I double click on this, I do have the ability to add in more information. So in this case, role, I'll set as primary. And then if I want to put in a phone number, we could do that. And we'll click on OK. If we want to create another secondary vendor contact here under Webinar Vendor, we can go to New, and we can go Jane, and role is maybe billing. So we'll go ahead and CC Jane on all contact information that we've got, or contacts or emails going out, or vendor RFQ emails going out. And then we'll go ahead and put in Jane's email here. All right, and we'll go ahead and click on OK. All right, and if you have any questions while I'm going along, make sure to ask down below, like we said. All right. All right, so there's that, and we'll go ahead and click on OK. So now you can see we've got Awesome Vendor and Webinar Vendor in here, so we'll click on Close. So now what we can do is we can go ahead and create a purchase order. So we can click on Purchasing here. And what we'll see here is all of our unpurchased items, and we'll select Awesome Vendor. And we've got this switch here. We'll go ahead and select this. And that's okay. We'll click on Close. And we can see that we met our free shipping minimum that was set in the edit vendor there. And we'll click on Create PO. We'll go ahead and obtain a purchase order number here. I'm not going to export this to QuickBooks. Obviously, I could. And then what I'm going to do is use our location and go ahead and click on OK. So what it's done now is it's created that PO. So now I can go ahead and click on Email PO. And here is that purchase order. And you'll notice that it's coming from me. I'm sending it to my main vendor contact, who is Joe. And then it's sending it to accounting as well as my Cisco contact as well at that same vendor automatically. I don't have to remember to CC all of these people. It's just going to go out automatically. And there's my PO. And then I would click on send, obviously. Now, if you have any purchase orders that you've already sent out before, you can resend them as well. So we can just go ahead and click on Email PO here, and that's going to pop up yet again. All right. All right. Question here from Andre about purchasing. Can purchasing notes be applied per vendor? On the individual documents, they cannot. However, when you're creating a PO, you can set those notes, and that would be per vendor. But individually, they wouldn't be. The way that some people get around that is they'll put purchasing notes on a per item basis using like a custom memo field, and that's where you can put those additional notes that need to be taken into account for each vendor. All right. So that's how easy it is to use the multiple vendor contacts. And like I said before, this is not meant to replace your CRM or PSA, but more and more companies are using QuoteWerks for their procurement functionality. So we've had requests to enhance our vendor capabilities, specifically multiple contacts per vendor. And we've had, like I said also before, we had customers creating multiple vendor entries in QuoteWerks for the same vendor because they had different vendor contacts depending on their needs. So they might have like multiple sales reps, general sales rep, Cisco sales rep, an HP rep, and all at the same company. And that didn't include the billing contacts or support contacts either. All right. All right, and then, so that's that. See, a couple people here are asking for purchasing notes per vendor. For that, I would recommend creating a forum feature request. If you don't already have that, I'll show you how to set that up a little bit later. But that would be the best way to request that functionality, because that will allow our development team to then go ahead and contact you if need be and had any questions. Let's see, William had a question. Can you have more than one phone number for each vendor, like a customer contact? So for that, what you would do is you go under Utilities and Vendor Maintenance, like we were talking about. We'll go into our awesome vendor here. And what you would do is you'd add a new contact in here. So we could go ahead and click on New. And contact in this case would be maybe customer contact. And the phone number would be just that phone number. So 321-555. And now we've got that in there. We're not going to include it on any of the emails. but now we have the customer contact, and that number is right there. Good question. Okay. All right. Any other questions about vendor maintenance? Just keep thinking about those. If you have a question later on, we can come back to it as well. All right. Let's see. And then we'll actually click to call. That's a great question. That might be possible, might not. Definitely submit that as a feature request as well there, Stephen. All right. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click on OK on this and close. So let's go ahead and pivot a little bit and talk about some of the new Autotask functionality. So first off, let's go to the products and setup product data sources menu. And let's go ahead and edit our Autotask products. And we'll click on edit here and next. And you will want to be a user with master rights to be able to do this. And what you'll notice here is on the right-hand side are all the fields that you can map in from Autotask into QuoteWerks. So as an example, we don't have a product user defined field mapping back to QuoteWerks because we don't have that asterisk there, but maybe we want to bring that into Custom Memo 01. To do that, all we have to do is click on map, and now it's mapped. Likewise, we could scroll up a little bit and maybe take the internal product ID and bring that into custom text 02. We can map that. External product ID, text 03, and that's maybe billing type. We'll do custom text 04. And that's how easy it is to either add or remove those mappings. And we'll click on next, 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 and next, and then finally finish. So what I can do now is go up to products, and we've got our Autotask products in here. Let's just make sure that we are customizing our menus and we've got all of them, and we do have all of them being shown. So let's go ahead and click on Sun here. That should have some detailed information. So as you can see, we don't have anything in the custom text or custom memo fields for this one. Actually, for any of them, it looks like. That's not going to be a good example. But as you can see, we do have the ability, custom text 04, we have standard in there. So as you can see, we do have the ability to map those fields. Let's do something wild and crazy. Let's go ahead and click on show all and see what kind of data we can get here. Question from Bill, can the name of the custom field change to the same as the import file? Yes, you do have the ability to change that. So if we go in here, we do have the ability to rename custom text 04 if we wanted to be the billing type. And so and we'll say yes. And now custom text 04 is billing type in here. Now that won't change it back on the custom text 04 on the document items tab because you might be having multiple things going in there, but that's how easy it is. All right. So I went ahead and selected all. Let's see if we have any other data in here that would be of interest to take a look. Of course not. But as you can see, it was that easy to bring in that billing type there. So if you have any questions on that, you can contact support. They'll be happy to answer that for you. Question from Andre. I have Autotask as a secondary CRM. That was one of the features that we added in build 2, I believe. Would it be possible to show both links to the primary CRM and Autotask for the opportunities? So for that, that's a good question. I'm not sure why we don't. That's another great feature to request. I don't think it would be impossible to add, so that's a great feature request. Let's go ahead and click on close now. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about those taxes that we were talking about in the PowerPoint. And we're going to go to contacts and set up contact manager. And we're going to go ahead and obviously select Autotask here. And we're going to go to Autotask setup. There we go. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to product data source here. And you'll notice that we've got all the different database types that we're linking to. So Autotask products, Autotask services, service bundles, and labor. And now we have some mappings here. So we have the ability to select what the tax code is going to be, either taxable or non-taxable. That's what we had before. But now we have the ability to specify based on material code, tax category, and tax region. And if you do that, then you'll just go ahead and set your tax region over here, and then it'll automatically flow in, and you'll have that tax region set up for you. But if you don't make any changes in here, you just update, it's just going to have whatever settings you had before, either taxable or non-taxable. Now, if we go back over to opportunities here and we go to quote products, you'll notice that we now have a part number generation options here, and it's grayed out. And the reason behind that is because that needs to be an internal part number field. And now we have the ability to auto-generate using a macro, or we can map certain types if we wanted to. So based on the type, we can auto-generate it with a macro. We can also have it be a, let's see, what fields do we have here? We have custom text 01, item type, and manufacturer part number if we wanted to create those as well. So that's how you would use the part number generation. If you need additional fields than that, definitely contact support, or go ahead and add that to our forum. Again, forum, best way to get new features added to QuoteWerks. All right, so now if I go ahead and retrieve a contact here, so let's go ahead and bring that over, click on close. And if I wanted to, I could go ahead and bring that all the way across. You'll notice how the company and contact IDs automatically got filled out there for me. And then what we can do if we wanted to, we have the ability to clear, and we can just click on clear, which would clear the whole thing. Or what we can do is clear the links to the CRM only. And as you'll notice, now it's just clearing the links. If we click on clear contact fields and links to CRM, it's the same thing as if you had clicked on the windshield wiper there. And like I said, where this functionality really comes in is if you're switching CRMs, or if you're duplicating a lot of documents and you don't want to have those links to those previous CRM like contact IDs or opportunity IDs moving forward. All right. Okay. Alrighty, and then we'll go ahead and talk about the new QuoteWerks web functionality that we've added. So first things first, let's go to Deliver, and we'll go to the Literature tab here, and you'll notice here's what I have in my literature. I have a new folder in here, but I don't have any literature underneath it. So if I go over to QuoteWerks Web, and I click on Deliver over here, you'll notice if I go to literature, I don't have anything, it's matching the same as I have back on desktop except for the new folder, but I don't have anything in that new folder, and that's why it's not there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and close this. Let's go back to desktop. In the old days, you would have to always remember to click on Sync with QuoteWerks Web. We don't have to do that anymore. What I can do is I can right click on New and click on Add Literature File here. And what I'm gonna do is select this that's in my Downloads folder, and it's just a PDF talking about our QuickBooks integration. So it went ahead and selected that. Let's go ahead and click on Close. You'll notice I didn't do anything else, right? So what I'm gonna do now is click on Deliver, go to Literature. Now I've got the new folder. And now I have that PDF there as well. So if I wanted to, I could go ahead and click on Print Preview. And there's the PDF that I just uploaded. I didn't have to go through any special syncing or anything like that. It did it automatically for me. So what we're doing is we're making it easier to make sure that we're syncing with QuoteWerks Web if you are using it. And going back to sync, the only time you need to sync anything is if it's coming from a file, whether that's like a layout, a Word document, or something along those lines. And if you're making changes to documents themselves or products or anything like that, those don't need to be synchronized because it's reading from the same database. So you don't have to worry about that. Now, what you do need to worry about though are those security settings. So let's go back over to QuoteWerks desktop here and talk about those security settings. So let's go to utilities and user maintenance here. And we'll go ahead and edit David. And what we're going to do is go to access. And what we want to do is make sure that we're limiting David's access to literature. So what I'm going to do is in the Spotlight search here is I'm going to type in literature. And you'll notice that it's going to go ahead and bold all of the results that are shown here in the Spotlight. So we've got 5 in literature here. And so if I wanted to, I could make it so David can't add literature, can't delete, and also can't modify as well. So if I click on OK and go back in there, look under access, scroll down, you'll notice that those are there. Okay. All right. That's it. I believe those are the only features that we're going to be going over here. I did want to show a couple of things first, though. If we go over to QuoteWerks.com, and if you want to make sure to see what the latest version of QuoteWerks is, you can always click on the customer area, and you'll see what the current release is right here, as well as the date that it was released. If you click on Update Center here, this is how you'll update to the latest build of QuoteWerks. To see all the features, you're just going to click on View Feature List. And here are all the new features added in version 23, build 5.10. Something to keep in mind, these point releases, we do these periodically, and you'll see the service release here next to each one. So as an example, the .10 was probably a fix as it was right there. All right. And then lastly, when we were talking about those feature requests, if we go to support here, and what we can do is we can go to our support forum here, and that's where you are going to make those feature requests. And you do have to be logged in to post. If you've ever sent us an email in support, you've already got to log in. All right. Well, with that, like I said, we are going to be at some great events here later this year. So if you are going to be attending those, make sure to go to our website and follow up with us. And lastly, I guess I'll show you that. You can see right here all the events that we're going to be at and how to register for those events. All right. So if you have any questions on how to update to the latest version, make sure to give us a call or send an email to support@QuoteWerks.com. If you have any questions about this webinar or future webinars, send an email to community@QuoteWerks.com. And with that, have a great day.